because the truth still matters. And when I do get something wrong, which happens on rare occasions, you know what I do? I apologize for it, which is what Aaron Rodgers should do, which is what a decent person would do, but I bet he won't. If he does, you know what I'll do? I'll accept his apology and move on. But he probably won't do that. My guess is he won't apologize. I hope I'm wrong.
All right, guys, so we have to follow up on the story of Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Kimmel, who are currently in a beef as Mr. Jimmy Kibbles and Bits seems to can't take a joke, even though he is a comedian, and he feels like it's totally fine and totally okay for him to take shots at other people. But when they take a shot back at him, all of a sudden he is a victim. And his latest meltdown is over Aaron Rodgers essentially insinuating that Jimmy Kimmel is afraid of the Epstein list coming out because Jimmy Kimmel apparently had an issue with Aaron Rodgers being curious about who's on the Epstein list. And he essentially accused Aaron Rodgers of having brain damage for asking questions about the list, okay? And Jimmy Kimmel has been taking shots at Aaron Rodgers all throughout the pandemic when it comes to Aaron Rodgers' stance on COVID and the vaccine, in which Aaron Rodgers, as a high-profile star NFL athlete, he's not drinking the establishment Kool-Aid, the establishment narrative when it comes to the vaccine and the pandemic. Therefore, again, the establishment, attack dogs like Jimmy Kimmel have to go after Aaron Rodgers, okay? And he's been doing that for a while now. Aaron Rodgers takes a little jab at Jimmy Kimmel. All of a sudden, everybody in the mainstream level media is making Jimmy Kimmel seem like the victim, and Aaron Rodgers is some type of bully, even though Jimmy Kimmel allegedly is supposed to be a funny man, right? He's supposed to be a funny man. He's supposed to be a comedian. I'm not sure why you need so many people to defend a comedian, right? Comedians can defend themselves. I mean, have you seen Dave Chappelle versus the woke mob, right? Dave Chappelle doesn't really need defending, okay? He can take on the woke mob all by himself. He still is, actually, okay? So I'm just saying, Jimmy Kimmel has now responded to Aaron Rodgers, and he's continuing his meltdown by essentially demanding that Aaron Rodgers apologize, because according to Jimmy Kimmel, if he was wrong, he would apologize, even though Jimmy Kimmel hasn't apologized for essentially saying that unvaccinated people don't deserve ICU beds, a claim that he essentially made on his show. And he also made fun of Aaron Rodgers' education, and again, implying that Aaron Rodgers is dumb. Again, this is on top of him implying that Aaron Rodgers, is some type of tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist simply because he doesn't drink the establishment Kool-Aid. Take a look.
Did you hear this story about me and Aaron Rodgers, the former quarterback for the Packers? All right, so what happened is he's a Jets quarterback now. He went on a show on ESPN, the Pat McAfee show, and out of the blue insinuated that I was nervous because the Jeffrey Epstein list was coming out. He said I was hoping it wouldn't, and that he was going to pop a bottle of something to celebrate when he did. And then it did come out, and of course my name wasn't on it, and isn't on it and won't ever be on. I don't know Jeffrey Epstein. I've never met Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not on a list. I was not on a plane or an island or anything ever. And I suggested that if Aaron wanted to make false and very damaging statements like that we should do it in court so he could share his proof with like a judge. Because, when you hear a guy who won a Super Bowl and did all the State Farm commercials say something like this, a lot of people believe it. A lot of delusional people honestly believe I am meeting up with Tom Hanks and Oprah at Shakey's once a week to eat pizza and drink the blood of children. This is how these nuts do it now. You don't like Trump, you're a pedophile. It's their go-to move. And it shows you how much they actually care about pedophilia. But here's the thing. I spent years doing sports. I've seen guys like him before. Aaron Rodgers has a very high opinion of himself. Because he had success on the football field, he believes himself to be an extraordinary being. He genuinely thinks that because God gave him the ability to throw a ball, he's smarter than everyone else. The idea that his brain is just average is unfathomable to him. We learned during COVID, somehow he knows more about science than scientists. A guy who went to community college, then got into Cal on a football scholarship and didn't graduate, someone who never spent a minute studying the human body, is an expert in the field of immunology. He just put on a magic helmet, and that G made him a genius. Aaron got 2 A's on his report card. They were both in the word Aaron, okay? And can you imagine that this hamster-brained man thinks he knows what the government is up to because he's a quarterback doing research on YouTube and listening to podcasts? I looked it up. This is actually a thing. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias in which people with limited competence in a particular domain overestimate their abilities. In other words, Aaron Rodgers is too arrogant to know how ignorant he is. They let him host Jeopardy for 2 weeks. Now he knows everything.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. That is Jimmy Kimmels and Bits, essentially making fun of Aaron Rodgers' intelligence, okay? Basically saying that Aaron Rodgers is accusing him of being a you-know-what, even though I don't think that Aaron Rodgers really directly accused him of being a you-know-what. He just said that, hey, Jimmy Kimmel seems pretty nervous about the list coming out. And I got to say, I agree with Aaron, right? I think that Jimmy Kimmel does seem pretty nervous about the list coming out because he goes so hard in regards to denying that he's on the list or that he's associated with Epstein. I feel like if he's not on the list and he wasn't associated with Epstein, then he can say, look, man, I'm not associated with it. I don't know what you're talking about, and keep moving, right? The fact that he gets so triggered by just the subject regarding the Epstein list, I think really does make people ask questions about, his role and what role he may or may not have had. But regardless, I think at the very least, that little rant there from Jimmy Kimmel shows that his feelings are hurt, okay, and that he is an elitist. Now, here's the thing about Aaron Rodgers. I actually remember when I was Ubering, these older guys actually told me that they met Aaron Rodgers, and apparently Aaron Rodgers is not the most friendly person, okay? Apparently he's self-centered, okay? He's very about himself, and that could be true. So I'm just saying I'm not necessarily defending Aaron Rodgers as a person, okay? He may or may not actually care about the victims in regards to the whole Epstein thing, but I do think that, Aaron Rodgers does represent the average American that does ask questions about the mainstream liberal media and their narrative. And what's happening to him is that he's being dragged in the media for the same reasons that normal, everyday, average Americans get dragged through the media when they ask questions about the establishment narrative, okay? And I think that that's the main takeaway from this story right here is that when you see somebody like Aaron Rodgers, who essentially just asking questions, okay, or, pushing back against the narrative, the pushback against Aaron Rodgers, the reactions from people like Jimmy Kimmel tell you everything that you need to know. So with that being said, Aaron Rodgers did respond to Jimmy Kimmels and Bits, and I want to play his response. But before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, BioTrust. Those who set their New Year's resolutions around health and beauty are helping collagen supplements grow in popularity. This supplement has trended recently as people are looking for ways to improve their skin, hair, nails, and joint health. For example, if you press a baby's cheeks, it bounces back because of the collagen that is present. Conversely, large pores and wrinkles appear as we lose collagen. The only collagen I recommend and use is this amazing magical supplement. It helps reduce visible signs of aging, reduce wrinkles, and promotes a youthful complexion of the skin. One scoop a day provides 5 critically important types of collagen your skin needs to perform and look its best. Plus, there are no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Get it now for a whopping 53% off this New Year's. Plus, receive free live health and fitness coaching for life, a new ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, and free shipping. Order now by going to healthwithpatriot.com. Again, that is healthwithpatriot.com.
Then we fast forward to this last week, right? And I said that a lot of people, and I'm quoting myself here, a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't come out. End quote. That's what I said. That's the entire quote. Okay? I was referring to the fact that if there is a list, which again, this hasn't come out yet, this was just a deposition, right? And there are names on it, then that would be the second time that a soft brain, junior college student, wacko, anti-vax, anti-Semite, purveyor, spreader of misinformation, conspiracy theorist, MAGA, whatever other things that have been said by him and other people in the media would be right twice. Now, let me just say that is the truth, number one. Number two, I totally understand how serious an allegation of pedophilia would be. So for him to be upset about that, I get it. Did you watch the quote? Because that's exactly what I said. Verbatim what I said on the show. Okay? I'm not stupid enough, even though you think I'm an idiot, and you made a lot of comments about my intelligence, but I'm not stupid enough to accuse you of that with absolutely zero evidence, concrete evidence. That's ridiculous. So I'm glad, and I think we can agree on something, is that one, those crimes are heinous, and two, I'm glad you're on the list, because those who are on the list, and this is what I think we can agree on, that at minimum there should be an inquiry into their involvement, especially if they went to the island, and at maximum there should be an investigation into it. So I hope that you'll give the same type of energy to these heinous crimes when they do come out, and the names do come out, and there is an inquiry into it, that you gave to other subjects that I actually mentioned that you spent a lot of time working on.
Well, no, he's not going to do that. And the reason why he's not going to do that is because his friends are probably on the list, right? So he's not going to talk about it too much. And, if he's not on the list, again, his friends or people that he may know being on the list, or Democrats, right, being on the list, may, again, prompt him to either not talk about it or, again, attack anybody that does talk about it as some type of tinfoil hat Alex Jones conspiracy theories. And again, what Aaron Rodgers was just saying there is exactly why, I'm covering this story, is because this is what they do. They smear anybody, okay, as, some type of idiot, you're dumb, you're, low educated, you're MAGA, whatever, right? This is what they say, okay, when you push back against the narrative. But the so-called conspiracy theories have been right? They've been right a lot, especially during the pandemic. These so-called fact checkers, okay, the liberal media, they've been wrong a lot. But again, they never apologize for being wrong. They don't apologize for being wrong, okay? But again, it's the so-called conspiracy theories that they go out of their way to try to discredit, even though the so-called conspiracy theories continue to be right about a whole lot of things.
So I'd like to put this to bed to move forward. I don't understand, to just finish this up. I do understand. But I don't understand a Mike Voss comment, because he didn't help out either. And I'm going to quote Mike Voss. He said, "Aaron made a dumb and factually incorrect joke about Jimmy Kimmel. It should never have happened. We all realized that in the moment." Mike, you're not helping. You're not helping, because I just read earlier exactly what I said. So, and this is the game plan of the media, and this is what they do. They try and cancel. And it's not just me. It's nowhere near just me. I mean, if you look at all the different people who've been censored from the internet especially during COVID, the canceling that went on, the censorship, using the government to try and censor people, that happened. And if that doesn't work, then they go to name calling. I mentioned a lot of the names that I've been called, and they don't stick, because I'm not anti-vax. I'm interested in informed consent and things that are in the best interest of my body.
You're a thinker, right? You're thinking, which is what they don't want you to do. They don't want you to think. They don't want you to ask questions. Just shut up and go along with whatever we tell you, okay? And if you don't, then we're going to smear you as some type of bigot. You're a MAGA. You're a conspiracy theorist. Alex Jones. This is what they do, right? They don't want you to think, Aaron, right? You're using your brain. Jimmy Kimmel doesn't. Again, as Aaron Rodgers point out, hey, Jimmy Kimmel, he's a teleprompter reader. Okay, I mean, the guy, again, he can't even defend himself. Okay, he needs all of the liberal media to defend him, because he's not smart enough to defend himself. He's questioned Aaron Rodgers' intelligence in the most elitist way possible, talking about how he went to a community college, as if that's a bad thing, or as if that makes you dumb. Okay, when Aaron Rodgers went to community college because he didn't get a football scholarship, okay, and he had to work his way up, and he worked hard. Clearly, he's a smart guy. I think to be an NFL quarterback, you at the very least need to have, average intelligence. You can't be a complete dummy to be an NFL quarterback, at least not at the level in which Aaron Rodgers plays, okay? But you can be a dummy and go to Arizona State, which is the school that Jimmy Kimmel went to, okay? Arizona State, which is a party school, a well-known party school, okay? I think that their acceptance rate is like 90+%. But again, I can't stand when people do that. I can't stand when people try to essentially flash their elitism by talking about what school they went to and bringing other people down based off what school they went to. Well, I went to a better school than you. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're smarter just because you went to a better school. Especially if you talk about a school like Arizona State. Arizona State is not a school that I'll be bragging about, okay? Because I could say, well, I'm smarter than Jimmy Kimmel because I went to UNC Chapel Hill, but I never do that. I never say that because it's a very elitist thing to say.
I'm not a MAGA. I've never had any affiliation with anybody associated with that movement, right? Which is okay if you are, though. Like, there's different opinions all over the place, right? If you're that's your ideology, that's fine. I'm not a super political person, okay? Do whatever you want. Conspiracy theorists, that's fine. Because if you look at the track record of conspiracy theorists in the last few years, they've been right about a lot of things. So
Facts.
I don't care about that one. Anti-Semite, that was called, I mean, that's just like, this is their game plan. They use these words to cancel people, and they went and ran with this because it's the crazy anti-vaxxer wacko again, talking about, accusing somebody of being a pedophile. Like, of course, this is the game plan that they use. Incorrect, but that's the environment that we're in. There's a lot of people who have been captured by various, entities, government entities, whether we're talking about pharmaceutical industrial complex or whether we're talking about believing that the government has a best interest in mind and we're puppeting, various narratives. In the end, if you are not someone whose opinion aligns with the mainstream narrative, this is what they're going to do with you. And it's not me. I'm not a victim. I don't give a shit. Say whatever the hell you want about me. That's fine. Like the people that know me and love me, you know what I'm all about. My teammates know what I'm all about.
Most
I
inspiring
don't have,
teammate.
like
Most
I've
inspiring
never
teammate, by the way.
met.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Won an award in the middle of this whole thing from your teammates. Prima donna, obviously.
Some people puked because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw a guy cry.
But listen,
Saw a guy cry because you were named the most inspirational teammate.
Should we say?
That was not like joy,
Listen.
tears of joy.
I still, in the end, to sum this up, listen, I still haven't popped a bottle because there hasn't been any list that's come out. And I'm glad that Jimmy is not on the list. I really am. And I don't think he's the P word. And, I think it's impressive that a man who went to Arizona State and has 10 joke writers can read off a prompter. So, my education at JUCO and my 3 semesters at Cal that I'm very proud of has worked out for me, and I'm glad to see it's worked out for him as well. So I wish him the best. Again, I don't give a shit what he says about it.
Facts, right? Facts. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But again, I think the smears against Aaron Rodgers, again, are the same type of smears that the liberal media, basically puts on anybody who disagrees, right? Oh, you're anti-Semite, right? Well, Aaron, congratulations. You might not necessarily be a political person, but basically every topic nowadays is political, right? There's a political angle to everything. So while you may not intend to be political, you are political when you start to talk about these topics, when you get into this arena. And yeah, when the liberal media disagrees with you, they're going to pull the bigot card, right? Surprised they haven't called you racist, right? But yeah, they're going to pull the bigot card. You're anti-Semite, you're this, you're that. I mean, that's just what comes along with, talking about these types of subjects and, pushing, an anti-establishment narrative. So, hey, politics is a blood sport. Aaron Rodgers is getting his lumps in, but I think that Jimmy Kimmel, in my opinion, looks very bad. I think he looks very weak, okay? I think he looks very feminine, right? The fact that he's trying to play victim when he's a late-night comedian who takes shots at everybody, I think looks, again, pathetic. It looks desperate. He's trying to make Aaron Rodgers look like a bully, but it really says a lot about Jimmy Kimmel and his actual talent, considering how he's having a really hard time defending himself despite having a ton of joke writers and resources behind him. Again, all he has to do is read off a teleprompter. And, it's just funny to me how, again, people are making this guy seem like he's a victim and Aaron Rodgers is a bully. But, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.